What's up guys, this is All Day Any Day 1 on the PS4 and I'm going to be giving you a build breakdown for Katie Pryde. So let's go ahead and look at her traits. Her two main attributes are fighting and intelligence. Her main stat or offensive stat is critical hit damage. She gains 15% automatically. In the middle trait, it's called intangible. You gain health on hit, 280 health on hit, deflex rating and dodge rating multiplier are both 20%. Deflex rating and dodge rating base is 600. Melee combatant damage reduction is 8%, and I'm pretty sure that is for the whole time you're in combat. Lockheed's energy primary resource is Lockheed energy. Lockheed energy constantly regenerates. So the abilities that I'm using is basically a phasing build. I'm not using a Lockheed build. So you're going to be using walking through walls. I put that on L2 circle. Watch your step. I put that on triangle. Quicksand. I put that on X. Just a phase. I put that on L2 square. Logan style. I put that on square. Phasing samurai. I put that on circle. Phased out. I put that on L2X. And then shadow and flame, I put that on L2 triangle. So like I said, this is a phasing build, not a Lockheed build. I will be probably making a Lockheed build later, and I will be testing it as well in Cosmic Trials. But anyways, so for walking through walls, if this is going to be your dashing ability, not necessarily a DPS. It can do damage as well, because as you can see, 3371 twice per second, 8 seconds. But the only thing is, all of my damage is going to be incredibly high versus a lot of other people's, is because my base damage is over 150%. But yeah, so don't look at the damage and think that your damage is going to be at the same, unless you have around 150% damage, base damage as well. Watch your step, phase underground, and then phase a single hand from beneath your enemy and pull them beneath the terrain, and then unphase them. They may not come back up. So with this ability, it makes your enemies vulnerable, for one, and you also become invulnerable while that ability is active or going, I guess. What it does is it pulls your enemies underground. It can't pull the giant mechs underground, but you can pull the Mandarin and Red Skull underground, which is really nice. It basically cancels their abilities. So if you know Mandarin is about to use one of his abilities, just go ahead and use that, and then it phases him underground and it cancels his ability, which is really nice. But it's also risky too if you try to stop them, like Mandarin, from using his fire ability instead of trying to get out the way. Sometimes you can get burned, but then again, you also do become invulnerable. It's also an 8-second cooldown too. Phasing samurai, phase underground and then reappear from under them with katana in hand, slicing enemies wherever you choose. Damage, yada yada yada. Invulnerability, you become invulnerable during the duration of this ability. Cooldown is 8 seconds. The buff effect, melee power damage 15%, buff duration 5 seconds. So this is like a nice AoE ability as well, and again, it gives you invulnerability. So you're gonna have a bunch of invulnerabilities through these. The next one is called Logan style. Use your katana blade to put down your opponent with a single massive strike. You may not be the best there is at what you do, but you're still pretty good. This power always deals critical hit, so that's part of your talent. It's an execute ability as well, so the lower your enemy's health is, the more damage you do to them. It's also a 4-second cooldown. Just a phase, this is going to be your defensive ability. So what this does, it says temporarily phase yourself out of the physical plane, increasing your effectiveness in combat and making you impossible to hit. 10% attack and movement speed, 25% total damage. You do 25% total damage, and you gain 1400 health per second. Lockheed energy restored is 25 per second. Gain invulnerability duration for 3 seconds. It's a 20-second cooldown, so it is a pretty long cooldown. But I mean, this has definitely saved my life a few times. It doesn't put you invisible, I don't think. Actually, no, I think it does. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it does put you invisible. There's a talent that does put you invisible, but it takes the invulnerability away. But yeah, this ability definitely will save your life though. If you if you're being burned by like Mandarin, or you get hit by Red Skull's damage over time as well, just pop this and you'll get some health back and become invulnerable to any damage. Quicksand. Hold down the button to damage and slow your enemies by phasing the ground beneath them, causing them to falter as they approach you. So you slow your enemies 50% attack and movement speed, and you also weaken your enemies. Weaken durations 8 seconds. So originally I had a different talent for this, but I had to switch it out because I just liked the other one. But this one, I mean, it's a nice channeling ability, and if you have 150% damage base damage, you're doing 20,121 damage twice per second. So I mean, that's incredibly, like, a ton of damage. Your signature called phased out. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna read all that. So basically what this does is you become invulnerable for 3.3 seconds, and 6 hits. So you do 6 hits as well. No, you don't do 6 hits. You do a few hits, but there's a talent that increases how many hits you deal. But it's kind of like you phase in and out of the ground, but it's a nice AoE as well. And then the other ability you're gonna have is called Shadow and Flame. Deliver a roundhouse kick to your enemy, then duck down to allow your powered Lockheed to deliver a massive blast of fire in front of you. You're not going to have Lockheed with this ability, but I'm only using it because, well, 1, the damage is nice, and 2, you gain a 10% damage buff. Duration is 10 seconds. So the talents I'm using it all straight across on the top. Solo training, send Lockheed away, preventing the use of Lockheed powers except Shadow and Flame. Shadow and Flame consumes all Lockheed energy, increasing damage by 0.3% per point spent, and its buff effect now applies to all powers. So you don't just gain a 10% damage buff towards your Lockheed powers, it goes towards any of your phasing abilities, or all of your phasing abilities. So that's why I really prefer this one over the others. I mean, Unseen Warrior is good too. You become stealth, but you don't become invulnerable. But I was going to use this, but then if you get burned by Mandarin, you want to negate that. So you want to keep the invulnerability from it. And then Flame Barrage is also pretty nice, but that is probably better for a Lockheed build. Phased Insights. Activating Watch Your Step or Phasing Samurai increases critical damage by 40% for 5 seconds. Effect can stack up to 2 times. So if you use both of those abilities, the ones that are highlighted, then you gain up to 80% crit damage for 5 seconds. So that would definitely help you out a lot. Or you can keep them staggered. You can use one for 5 and then wait 5 seconds and then use the other for another 5 seconds. The other one, called Brutal Combat, Heartbreaker deals 1% more damage per 1% of the target's. So Heartbreaker ends up gaining the Execute talent, but we're not going to be using Heartbreaker. We're going to use this for Logan Style. Logan Style always critically hits, so that's going to be pretty crucial for you because Logan Style is an Execute ability. And with that Execute, you're also going to be guaranteed a critical hit. So this definitely going to help you out a ton. Coordinated attacks is a good one to have for a balanced build. So a Lockheed plus phasing build. You're not going to be using that. And Dragonfire is only good for a Lockheed build. Phase Rush. Walking through walls gains the following effects: damage increase, or you do 3371. You do damage over time when you go through your enemies, and you restore Lockheed energy, 75 per restore. I'm generally using this dash or this talent because you gain 1 extra dashing charge. So having an extra dashing will always help you with your trials. Sword wielder is the other one that I was using. I was using this because, well, it increases your sword powers by 5%, and sword power damage, I mean, and you also gain crit hit chance for 5% for your sword powers. The, what's it called? The quicksand ability turns into Shadowcat's pirouette. What that does is it does an AoE sword, like you spin around with swords, I guess, katanas, but the damage is not that too great, but you do have more mobility rather than being in one spot using a channeled ability, but I would prefer using phase rush anyways. Continuous assault, phased out lasts longer, increases the number of hits to 6. So I don't know what it is originally. I think it might just be 1. Is it 4 hits originally? So you gain 6 extra hits, so you technically should be at 10 hits, but I guess it caps out to only 6, or maybe it just says it switches it to 6 instead of 4. It doesn't add on. So that's a good one to have. So that means you are invulnerable for 6 hits instead of 4 hits. Heavy impact is also a good one to have, but the only thing is you have a cooldown effect on it, an 8-second cooldown, and max channel time is 2 seconds long, and it does 75% more damage and 50% more AoE, but I mean it's an 8-second cooldown, so that really just hurts you more than benefiting you. Tandem strikes is great for a Lockheed build. Now onto your synergies, what's good and what's not good and what's okay. So Angela's is always good, Ant-Man's is not good, Beast is good, Black Panther's is good, Black Widow's is good, Blades is okay, Captain America's is okay, Captain Marvel's is okay, Colossus is okay, Cyclops is okay, Daredevil's is good, Deadpool's is okay, Strange is not good, Gambit's is okay, Ghost Rider's not good. Well, unless you're using a Lockheed build, then this is a good one. Hawkeye is good. Hulk's is okay, I guess. Iceman is not good. Iron Fist is not good. Iron Man's is... I don't think you need ranged at all. Yeah, no, you don't need ranged, so Iron Man's is not good. The next person, Jean Grey, is not good. Kitty Pryde is okay. Luke Cage is okay. Magic is not good, or okay, I guess, for the heal on hit. Moon Knight is okay because it's high risk, high reward for that one. Nova's is okay. Psylocke's is good for the melee, the highest melee synergy. Punisher's is not good. Rocket Raccoon is not good. Scarlet Witch is good. She-Hulk's is okay. Spider-Man's is okay. Squirrel Girl is good. I should actually put that on and replace Hulk's. Star-Lord is not. Storm is not. Thor's is okay for the defense rating. War Machine is good for everyone can benefit from fighting. Plus 10 resource as well is always good. Wolverine's is not good. Your infinity points, what I put is I put 11 into, or now an extra. I put my points into strike through and into fighting. If you don't have 25 points or more, and if you don't want to use any points into your attributes, then strike through is a good one. Potency is a good one. Restoration is good. Micro warps and gravity well, those two are good. Temporal loophole is good, and probably either mental focus or mind over matter. And yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the gear. I have 2 items that are cosmic. Um, I do have a relic. I don't remember which one I was using earlier though. I think it might have been a defense one. If not, then oh well. That's still a good relic to use. But yeah, my all of my gear is at 60. I don't have a legendary item for her. I think I don't. I'll get to that late soon. Um, I'm using Electra's medallion. When you use the med kit, you gain stealth for 2 seconds, and your next melee deals 10% more damage. Good ones to use would be none of these. Dr. Dooms would be a good one to use. Dr. Octopus would be a good one. Actually, let me see. I have some in here. Actually. So, no. No. Dr. Dooms is good because you gain when you use the signature, you gain +1 to all your attributes. Dr. Octopus is good because you gain melee damage when you use melee damage. Who else is good? Ooh, no, not Living Laser. No. Mr. Hyde. When you are attacked, you gain 500 damage rating for 5 seconds, 10-second cooldown. That's not a bad one either. There are others, I'm pretty sure, that are good. Whoa. But, yeah, I mean, I would probably use Dr. Octopuses because... Or Dr. Octopi. I don't know. Doc Ock's fucking medallion. Or Electra's. Catalyst that you want to have. This is not a bad one. The signature, the cosmic talent is pretty good. But the one you want to have, the catalyst is in the green portion. You want to have where it says when you use a med kit, you gain 25% regenerate to health and resource. And then in the cosmic part, you either want to have this one where you use a signature, you gain 1000 damage rating for 4 seconds, or you want to have where you use a med kit, you gain 50% shield based off your max health. Or in the purple, the mutation bonus, this is a good one as well. When you use your signature, power gain 1000 defense for rating for 5 seconds. But the better one would be when you use a med kit, you gain 5000 health back. A good relic to use, Relic of Asgard, Relic of Subterranea, and yeah, those two are probably the best options for this build because you're doing mainly all melee damage, or you can have more defense rating, so that means you negate the damage, more damage mitigation, I guess. Cargill's Wear rewrites is always a good one to have for every character. Tanya's Love Letter and Top Secret Hydra training manual. I got all 3 of these from opening my shield booster box. I guess good ones to have for her would be, I want to say, well, Rhinos would be a good one too because you do gain Brittle Strike, but you don't necessarily need the Lockheed energy. Let me see, I have another character that might be good for hers. So this modified Ziggurat of Cargo would be a good one to have because the crit damage, crit hit, and Brutal Strike. Modified, or not modified, but Gem of Curse would be a great one to have on any character because you gain crit hit, Brutal Strike, brutal damage, and crit damage. And then the Cargo's Re-Rise again is a good one to have for any character as well because you gain +3 to all your main attributes. Or not your main attributes, but +3 to all your attributes. But just keep in mind that if you do die with in anything in trials, that it counts as a fail. But with Cargo's rewrites, it's just good to have when you die, you come back to life, and it's a 3-minute cooldown basically. When you use your signature, you push your enemies away, and after your signature is finished, all your enemies come back and get pulled into one spot. So it's a really good one to have. If you do have these though, I would definitely put them on because Tanya's Love Letter, all enemies around you are constantly weakened, doing 10% less damage to you and your allies. 5% chance on hit to focus your gaze on your target, hypnotizing them for 30 seconds, 1-minute cooldown. 19% chance when you are attacked to absorb up to 25-15 damage, 10-second cooldown, 304 damage rating versus your enemies with weakened status, and all your enemies are going to be weakened that are around you, and then +1 to all attributes, so you're getting +4 in total from that. Top secret Hydra training manual, 1058 health, 453 damage rating to melee, 426 brutal strike rating, become invisible and gain +3 fighting for 3 seconds when your health drops below 40%. So when your health drops below 40%, you become invisible, and then you do even more damage because you get +9 to your fighting, which is really nice. 30-second cooldown as well. So for my stats, I have a ton of fighting, which is perfect. So 7 durability, 6 strength, 22 fighting, 7 speed, 8 in energy, and 16 intelligence. My average effective health is at 31,324, so it's not like great, but it's fine where it's at. Sort of. Damage reduction is at 38%, so that's pretty good where it's at. My offensive stats are not too great. My attack speed is fine, 10.4%. My crit hit is really low, 508. Crit damage is also really low, 1960. Brutal strike rating is also really low, 426, and brute damage is at 2051. My base damage is at 152% though, because of my fighting and intelligence. But if you're in full purple gear at least, and you're going for straight, I guess, crit hit and brutal strike, and crit damage and brutal damage, you want to have at least 1600 or more in your crit hit and your brutal strike rating. 1500, I'd say, at least 1500 or more. And then in the crit damage and brutal damage, you want to be at least 2500 plus. So if you're in full cosmic gear and you're focused on those 4 stats, then you want to be at least 2000 crit hit and brutal strike, and 3000 crit damage and brutal damage. Those are the very minimum. And then your base damage for them, you want to have at least 60%. You want to be at least at 60% base damage, and you want to be around 80% to be in a good spot. But if you're at 152%, you know, that's also a really, really, really nice spot to be at. Yeah, so let's go ahead and check out her abilities. So I don't remember the names of all these abilities, so I'm just going to go by the buttons that I put them in. So with X, it's a nice AoE channeling ability. As you can see, the damage is pretty nice as well. Then with Square, it's a single target ability, but it does a ton of damage. And then Triangle, you phase in the ground, pull your enemies down, and it does damage as well. And then they pop back up. And then Circle, it does a nice AoE as well. You phase into the ground and then do damage. So with the L2 Triangle, you do 2 hits. Oh, nice. I didn't realize that. But you do 2 hits, and it takes all of your Lockheed energy, but your Lockheed energy regenerates pretty quick anyways. So by the time your cooldown is done with your L2 Triangle, Lockheed energy should be halfway up. The next one is going to be your dashing ability. As you can see, you can dash through objects and through your enemies, and you do damage over time on them. And then the next one is going to be your phasing ability. So with this, you walk, or in general, you can walk through your enemies, so you don't have to do that, but you want to use that when your health is pretty low, or if you get caught by Mandarin's fire or just any status effect, you could use that to negate the damage from it. And then your signature. So that's not bad at all. And then this is how I went with my my build, I guess. So I used square, and then went down, and then popped that, and then I would use this L2 triangle, and then I would go back to using this X, and then square again. On, you have to make sure you're pretty close to your enemy with the square though. The Logan's ability, Logan's sword or something. Go back down, and then yada yada yada, and yeah. So that's basically my build. Oh wait, no, not yet. before I forget, we're gonna go to the headquarters and I will tell you which legendary item you want to go for Kitty Pryde. So I would go for the Savage Axes. Where is it? Well, Excalibur as well, because I think you have, no, probably not. If you're using the sword talent, then you would want to go with Excalibur because of the sword powers. Um, but I would probably go with Norn Stones is not bad because of that one ability you have that does channeling, but that's not your main focus. Savage Axe of Ares is a good one to have. Shield of Perseus is a good one to have as well. So I would probably go with one of these two. If you feel like you need more defensive ability, then Shield of Perseus is what you want to go with. Savage Axe of Ares, if you want to do more damage, then this is what you want to go with. If you want to do more damage with your brittle damage, Ultimate Nullifier is always a good choice because you get 6,000 brittle damage in total. Twilight is also a pretty good choice, but the only problem with this is you can't use your ultimates in trials. So if you're looking for something for trials, then definitely these two are the best choices in my opinion. So yeah, if this video helped you out at all, go ahead and leave a like, comment, or message me, tell me if it helped you out. Just remember this is a phasing build, so you're not going to be focused on Lockheed at all. I will be posting a Lockheed build later with a Cosmic Trials build, or Cosmic Trials gameplay of it. But yeah, this is all day 1 on the PS4. Have a good day, good night, and peace.